Hunters arise. The comic hunter is here.
Hello, hello. The comic book hunter here for another hunt. It's good to see you all today. I am going to just need a moment while I pull up my chat. There we go. Oh, somebody's here already. Well, welcome to the live stream. I was absent for this last week, and that is regrettable, but now I have things worked out a little bit better, so I should be here. Oh man, look at my hair, it's crazy. Professionalism. Oh, I got a sticker on my arm too. There we go. That's the kind of quality you get here on the Comic Book Hunt. Anyway, I appreciate anyone who comes here and checks us out live, or if you come afterwards, it's all great, and I really appreciate it all. This is the place you can come and interact, though, when you can catch it live. This week's going to be slightly longer than normal, possibly, because I did miss the last 2 weeks, so I'm going to just go ahead and go over, review the comic books that I picked up over the course of the last 2 weeks, rather than just this 1 week. So there's a treat. So let us start with the first comic this week that I will talk about. XForce number 2. Oh my goodness. This seems to be the comic you want to get right here. XForce number 2. I am loving it. It's probably my favorite title out of any of them. And I don't say that lightly. X-Men's pretty good too, but this series is just something else. And I highly recommend it. Let me show you a little bit of the art from the other side to give you an idea, maybe a little bit of why it's incentivized for me. Now, as some of you know, some of you who have been at my channel longer, you know that I'm a big horror buff, and I've done short horror films and stuff like that. So when things take a darker turn, I am a big fan of it. And the art was incredible in this, and the story was incredible. I don't really want to spoil anything, but there was a tragedy that happened in the first issue that is now having an effect on everyone. And Wolverine is going out for a little bit of hunt to go get some vengeance for everything that happened. And it is brutal and awesome. This book is a definite must check out if you're into X-Men at all. I was very satisfied with it. And that's really all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil too much for you. You could see some crazy stuff happening here. It is insane. Definitely go get this book, though. If you love Wolverine and crazy zombie things and all kinds of stuff like that, deep stories, like a lot of these X-Men titles have been having this kind of stuff, I've noticed. But check it out. All right, so that was pretty quick. The next title I have for you is Fallen Angels number 2. This is another really good book, but I will say that with this book, it is primarily good because Brian Edward Hill is writing it. There is some really good art in this book, but it's kind of hard for me to super recommend the art. And I'm going to go ahead and explain why to you. So let's go into it a little bit, shall we? So there's some really cool stuff about this art. I'm not going to lie and say that it's all bad, but it was a little more subtle in the first issue. But when you get into this issue, there's some really good stuff, but I'm convinced most of this, a good chunk of this, is some kind of 3D filter some kind of filter being put over 3D models. There is art mixed in, and when it's mixed in, it's done very well. But there are striking errors that you could only get from putting a filter over 3D models. And I'll go into that in a second. But I just wanted to say this story continues to be dark and awesome. It's very gritty. I'm loving Brian Edward Hill's writings. And this is definitely another recommend. Fallen Angels, another dark story. If you got into the last issue, I don't want to spoil too much, but there is this enemy that can possess people, and it seems to be the next plague that's going to be trying to take out all mutants. And this story continues from there. Just giving you little bits and pieces. If that sounds really cool, though, seeing some kind of a creature that can take over people, and they get these black crying eyes, then definitely check this out. This is a pretty cool assassination sequence here that happens. I'm liking this book all around for the most part, except the art, you know, like some of the art's striking, and then you get stuff like this. What is happening here exactly? Can you see this? What? Her eye is jutting out over her hair, and her face looks like it's she's wearing some kind of mask over her face. The artist didn't even bother to cover up that this faceplate or whatever it is just kind of stuck onto the 3D model, and it looks like she's wearing a mask. It looks really scary, really freaky, but you see errors like this throughout the book. The 3D models just don't look good at all, and it clearly just looks like a filter being put on top of a 3D model. And then you have backgrounds that just look like photos that have been tampered a little bit to look like art. So I don't know what's going on here, but it's not good. Shame on you, artist. This is something that I could make a lot of times. There's some really good stuff in here that I would have trouble making, but I used to work in 3D models and stuff like that, and this is just sad. I mean, look at this. It's such a joke, such poor quality. What happened to editors? Didn't anyone sit back and look at this and be like, what the hell is wrong with this picture? Go back and redraw it. Or go back and do anything to it besides just putting a filter over a 3D model. The art quality definitely went down in this book big time. I'm still liking the story, but if this continues, man, I might just jump off of this book because of the terrible art quality. So that's my opinion on that. All right, let us go on to the next book. What do we have now? It's a little bit of old business, but Sean Gordon Murphy, Batman, White Knight presents Von Freeze. Yes, I can't have enough Batman White Knight. It just can't happen. I've been loving everything from it so far. This story is a bit bland, but it does hit some emotional points that I really like. And particularly the climax is very emotionally packed, and I did enjoy it overall. You know, it was like a little meandering. I didn't know where it was going to kind of go, but once you get the whole picture for this story, it's quite enjoyable, and I definitely recommend it. And it really brings a little bit of depth to the White Knight universe and the story behind Mr. Freeze. So here's a little bit of the art. I'm just going to show you here. We got some old school Nazi Freezy technology going on here. So this story is based in where is this? I don't know. I know it's some area. I probably should have paid attention to that a little more. It's definitely something in the throes of World War II. I think it's Germany, but I could be incorrect about that. And once again, you have sort of a what was that one movie called? The girl in the red in the dress with the red balloon. You think I would know this? I'm probably gonna remember it right after this movie, right after I'm done doing this review. Schindler's List. There we go. So this story has some Schindler's List vibes to it, and then it kind of leads up to a climax where things don't necessarily work out in the best possible way, but it does set the story up in such a way that it ushers well into the modern day world. So, if you want to check out a little expanded universe for Batman the White Knight, then I would definitely recommend this book to you. The art in it's pretty good. It's a little sloppy, but I think it's intentionally that way. And that's about it. That's all I really got to say for that one. Next up, we have 2099 Alpha. Yes. I gotta say, I'm digging this series so far, the little mini series thing that they're doing with 2099 here. But I am a little disappointed in this book. This book really just sets up a bunch of things. There are some new elements that aren't here that tack on to the other stories that are going on, but I was a little disappointed in this. I thought it could have been better, but it did, brace you for everything that was coming, and it's sort of bracing you because, like, this whole event is basically just a bunch of one shots. But from there, things are going to get a little better. Let's just hop in here real quick. This is the introduction of Conan the Barbarian 2099. And I just thought this was the best art from the whole book. And really, I just wanted to show you an example of what the art was like in this book. I would say it's not necessary to pick this book up, but there are little bits in here that tie into other things and help set it up. You don't necessarily have to get this, but if you don't want to miss just a little bit of the story prior to the one-shot books, then this is the one you want to get. All right. Well, I hope that was a good enough explanation. We will move on to the next one. What do we have here? Whoa! Fantastic Four 2099. All right. Now, I don't know what people are saying about this book. I haven't really heard anyone talk about this book. I wanted to try it out, though. And one of the main reasons I wanted to try this book out was because clearly this is a new team. This is a new Fantastic Four. And you want to get in on those new characters. It's always good to have them, even if they're not valuable now. One day maybe somebody will trudge them up out of the ground and bring them in an event or something like that, or zap them over to the past world, which is our modern world or whatever. And then the character might be valuable. Now, this story was interesting. It was a lot of setup, getting to know these characters, bringing them together and everything like that. And I'm sure some people are going to be like, oh, this book's, wham in power and stuff like that. Some people are probably going to mock it for that kind of a thing. But here's what I want to say to you. Is it a group of women? Yes. But you got to look past that, and you got to see to the very end of the story. Because to say the end of this story wasn't shocking, oh my God, I did not see it coming. I did not see it coming. Let me show you some of the art in here. There you go. Oh my God. The end of this book caught me so off guard. So a lot of this story has to do with this new Fantastic Four team coming together. And in the Alpha 2099 book, you have this little robot fellow, and in the future, the normal Fantastic Four are dead. So this robot fellow is going around to collect another team of who could potentially become the new Fantastic Four. And that's basically what this story is, and you get to know all the characters. And I honestly do like some of the characters in this story. I think some of them are a little bit too have too much personality to where they seem almost like caricatures. But I am interested in some of the characters in this book. And then there is one hell of a reveal at the end of this book, and it definitely makes the whole book worth buying because it will just send you for a loop. Now, you know, I don't know how I don't know how else to put it. I would definitely check this book out if I were you. Don't skip right to the end. Read the book all the way through. Ride the waves with these new characters, get to know them and everything like that. And then come back to me and tell me what you thought once you got to that final reveal at the end. I'm very interested in knowing what other people would think of this book. Hey, even if you get it digitally, go ahead and hit me up on Twitter. Let me know what you thought about this. Tag me, Ash and Jackal, on Twitter at Ash and Jackal. It's one word. You could put capital A, capital J if you want. But wow, it. Oh man, did it tie everything together, and I was very surprised. So definitely check that out. All right, going on to our next book here. Whoa, Punisher 2099. Punisher 2099. Now, I don't know. I grew up with the Punisher 2099 back in the day. And I gotta say that I was not a fan of this character. He just was like a less cool version of Judge Dredd. And so I was a bit disappointed. His outfit was ridiculous, too. So we go off into this new 2099 and this new story we have here. And you find out you're back in with Mr. Gallows, and getting back into this story, you're getting introduced to a new, I guess, private police officer or whatever, a new character. And they get into his story, and it's pretty cool. I don't want to spoil too much for you about this story. It's difficult because let's just say a lot of this stuff in this 2099 event, a lot of this stuff is setting up things that you're going to want to be a part of. Because there are a lot of new characters being pushed in here. And that's really important. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later when I'm recommending comics for next week. But it seems like they're introducing a lot of new concepts and a lot of new characters. And this book really, once again, these 2099 books, they're like kicking you in the balls, okay? In a good way, though. Like, let's say you're into that sort of thing. It's like, whoa! Oh my goodness. It's a good story, though. I would definitely recommend it. It's got a lot of the, Punisher brutality and stuff meshed into the 2099 world. And it's pretty interesting. And I really enjoyed the path that this story took. I didn't really see it coming. And then I was like, wow, okay. But I'm happy. I'm happy the direction this took. If you're not a big fan of the Punisher 2099 character, if you think is kind of cartoonish and stuff like that, then you're gonna want to read this book. Just trust me on it, okay? Some badass stuff happens in here, and it really justifies the character in a way. So I'm not gonna spoil it for you. Check out this book if you're a fan of Punisher. And if you really aren't too much of a fan of Punisher 2099, and if you are a fan of Punisher 2099, well, I'm sorry. Okay. Let me get into this right here. There's a little bit spoilery here. You got Punisher 2099 facing off with somebody else who has a nice hobby of punishing people. And that's really all I'm going to say about it. Yeah, this other guy's into punishing too, and I think he looks like way more badass than our standard Punisher 2099. So, if that looks cool to you, yes, that is a tree of corpses in the background, and that is the cult of Thor fighting the private police. It's chaos. Check this book out if any of this appeals to you. All right. Well, let's get on to our next one. Ooh, it's our last book. It's our last book. Okay. 2 weeks worth of comic books. 2 weeks worth of comic books, and we are to the end. What do we got here? The Question. The Deaths of Vic Sage. Oh my. I bought 2 copies of this book. I bought 2 of them because this is a good book. You don't want to miss out on The Deaths of Vic Sage. And this is classic. This is classic The Question too. Some people in more recent years, there has been a different character that took over for the mantle of The Question. But this is classic, and if you like Rorschach, if you're not familiar with The Question, maybe because he's not that known of a character, just think sort of Rorschach, you know, somebody who is very determined and very, they have an objective and they go at it hard. But this book right here is definitely worth your time. There's a lot of Lovecraftian themes running through this book. So if you enjoy, you know, madness and fear and people being overwhelmed and crazy stuff happening and, you know, ancient secrets being unraveled, this is the book for you. And it's all dressed up in the nice little package of The Question. Really good book, though. Definitely recommend. If you get the chance, this is a magazine-sized comic, which is a bit annoying, but it really allows the art to breathe. So definitely check this book out. I love it. I just love it. And I think you will too. This is the time to get on The Question. I didn't know much about this character, honestly. I've always wanted to know about this character, though. And this was the book to help really teach me about him and really get me interested in his previous adventures. All right, well, now we're at our center portion of the little stream here. Now, so what's popular? Okay, The Mandalorian. The Mandalorian's popular. I don't know. I did think that the latest episode was it wasn't that great, but it wasn't bad. I don't think that the whole propaganda thing really stands up. I know a lot of people are busting on this episode. I just don't. It just feels like kind of an inexperienced director had this episode. That's about it for me. I really liked that one actress from Deadpool. It was really fun to see her in this episode kicking some butt. I thought that was really good. And no, I didn't have a problem with it. Probably the weakest episode so far, but it's been a pretty good run. I really hope that this isn't like the beginning of things getting more weak. You know, we're up on the 4th with the halfway point. This was the big 4 of 8 episodes. So we'll see. We'll see how it goes, but I'm hoping for the best. And I did enjoy that character, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, well, that was quick. Now let's get on to the last portion of the live stream. What comics should you pick up next week? There's not much. So, you know, this live stream might end at a, you know, reasonable time. First comic I recommend is the next issue of X-Men. X-Men number 3, I believe this is. And this is a nice Alex Ross cover here. This is going to be the one I pick up. And shockingly enough, it's at cover price. So definitely, if you've been reading any of the X-Men series, this is one that you definitely have to keep on. Hey, I've been saying definitely and not less, but not right now for some reason. So sorry about that. But this is gonna be, I think this is gonna be a good one. Jonathan Hickman writing it as always. And what can I say? I would pick it up if I were you. Sorry, I'm actually just going and checking on something real quick on the Twitters. On the Twitters. All right, next up, we are continuing with Ghost Rider 2099. I really enjoyed Ghost Rider 2099 back in the day. They've been really switching things up with these new 2099 books, so I have no idea what they're going to be doing with this. I'm kind of excited. These books have been more interesting than I thought they were. I also picked up Conan 2099, but it was only okay, so I really didn't feel like reviewing it today since I had so many issues. It was okay. I don't know if I would recommend it or not, but I don't regret buying it. You know, it'll slip into the collection nicely. But here, Ghost Rider 2099. What an awesome character. I hope they do some good stuff with this. I am looking forward to it. Then we have Venom 2099. Do my eyes deceive me? Is that a female? New female Venom? Or symbiote of some kind? I know the standard cover shows Venom holding up a vial with a symbiote in it. And I don't know if it's an extension of itself or if it is a new, another child of Venom. Whatever the case is, it looks like things will be changed up in this one too, and we'll probably get introduced to a new, some kind of a new symbiote or a new character or something. I don't know how well the book is going to be, but I'm going to be getting it because I definitely want to know what's happening with this new character. And last but not least, we have Collapser number 6. Yes, I am loving this series. I don't know how much longer this series is going to keep going. I think the sales are in the toilet, which is really sad. They may stop it at 6. I don't know. But I have adored this series since it started. And it might be something that one day will reawaken and people will be like, wow, that was a great series. And they'll be right. This was a great series. I hope it keeps going for a while longer. Maybe they'll push it to 8 issues so you get 2 trade paperbacks out of it. I don't know. Or maybe they'll just do a 6-issue trade paperback. I don't know. I don't want it to end. But I have a bad feeling that eventually we're not going to see any more Collapser, which is really sad because this is it's so good. Anyway, that's it for today. I don't know how long things have been going. Let's see. Do I have a counter for... Oh, man, nearly half an hour. This is a long one. Nobody stopped in, though, except for one watcher. Nobody interacted with me. Woohoo. I figured... I guess everyone's just busy on this Saturday. I do appreciate anyone who watches this. I do appreciate the people who lurk and the people who interact. Oh, my internet's acting funky. Well, thank you all very much. And I'm going to stop the stream now. You all have a great day. Yes.